evening. This is Wilson, November 6th Echo Mike Foxtrot, your net control operator for the River City Arc Slow Scan TV net. This net serves for training and practice in image transmission modes. It meets Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock p.m. on the N6NA repeater on 441.30 megahertz. River City Arc's members and all licensed radio amateurs are welcome to participate. If you wish to join the net or need to make a call at any time, please announce your call sign between transmissions and net control will acknowledge you. If an emergency should arise and you need the repeater, please contact the net control by saying break break. A double break signifies emergency traffic. The net control will stand by for you until the emergency is terminated or the traffic is moved to another frequency. Stations who wish to check in are asked to respond with their full call sign using this recognized ITU phonetic alphabet and their name. I will recognize each station before continuing. Any station who wishes to check into the net, please come now.
Kilo 3, Romeo Echo Hotel. This is Anders in Folsom.
N6PGQ, Bob in Roseville.
In Florence.
Kilo Papa 4, Mike Delta Carol, Citrus Heights.
All right, well, good evening, Anders. That was K3REH N6PGQ, Bob, and I've got Joel, AI6DG, which doubled with Bob, I think, and KP4MD, Carol. I want to thank you all for checking in. And do we have any other check-ins?
Kilo Lima 7 Hotel, Quebec Radio, Neil in Antelope.
Kilo November 6, Quebec November, Juliet, James in Gold River.
James, I got KN6QNJ, and Neil, KL7HQR. Good evening, thanks for checking in. Oh, Carol, yeah, thanks. You got your YouTube up and streaming now?
Affirmative. It's been going since the start.
All right, well, we'll let it roll in just a second. I want to say hello to everybody out there on YouTube that it might be viewing, and have a good evening. Enjoy the show. I'll start off with, let's see, do we have any other check-ins before I continue? All right, well, Anders, you're up. You're number one. If you're ready to transmit, let us know what mode and let her rip.
I am ready, and this will be a quickie. Robot 36.
Oh my, we have November Romeo 6 Hotel. Is that a new call sign for Anders? I see that Anders has achieved his amateur extra class license. Congratulations to you. Woohoo! Nice work, Anders. Congratulations. N6RH, formerly known as K3REH. Photograph received. Pretty nice copy. Thank you. N6EMF. N6PGQ.
Well, it looks like Anders is all set to use the entire amateur radio frequency spectrum, and congratulations on NR6H. That isn't too bad to send, and it looks like somebody did a little bit of photoshopping on there, but nice job. Congratulations, N6PGQ.
Very good. Very good. How about Joel, AI6DG?
Wow, you've been busy. Not only are you passing licenses, but you've passed the energy call requirement. You found a good one in N6NA, which isn't always easy. Oh, wait a minute. NR? That's not a valid call. Oh, I've been taken. I look forward to hearing more. Back to net, AI6DG.
Yeah, that's interesting you point that out, Joel. N6RH seems to be a very nice call to send via CW. Thank you. Carol, KP4MD. How copy?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. Picture came through quite well. A few pixel pops on the white background. And yeah, you got a 2x1 call sign, which you can get as an extra class. November Romeo 6 Hotel. Welcome to the 6th call district. I know I'm a little bit of a hypocrite to say that because I'm still in Foreland, according to my call sign. But it's a good reason to be proud and quite an accomplishment. Thank you very much for sharing that, Anders. Back to net. This is KP4MD.
Very good. Neil, KL7HQR, how copy?
A really good copy here, no problem at all. I have a question when it comes your time, Anders. Could you have kept the original call, or you had to go for a new call? Because I'm considering doing that, but I didn't want to lose my KL7. Back to net. Congratulations, by the way. Back to net.
All right. Thank you for that, Neil. K&6, Q&J. James, how copy?
Good copy, some pixel pops. Congratulations, Anders. I'm interested to know about the call sign change as well. K&6, Q&J.
Yes, lots of questions on the call sign. K3REH. Thank you, James. You're up. Tell us all about your photo and your call sign change.
Thank you for that. The license upgrade is a couple of months old, but the call sign took 2 months to get. It is a painful process where you basically apply for the call signs that become available. The call sign has to be available, or it has to be canceled for 2 full years before it becomes available. And when it becomes available, whoever applies on the first day when it's available are put in a hat, and one of those tickets are drawn, and that's the person that gets it. So I've been applying for every every 4-letter call sign with a 6 in it since basically I got my upgrade, and this finally came through as of this morning. So it's a very painful process, but eventually it works. You just have to be persistent. There's about roughly about 20 people on every single call sign in the lottery there. So yeah, you just have to be persistent, and eventually you get something. So it's definitely nothing you just pick and choose what you want. You have to keep applying, and you have to be on that day. There is no requirement to change the call sign as you upgrade, so I could have kept my K3REH break. However, the K3REH was something that I came up with when I was brand new, and I thought that last names were going to be used, which I quickly learned that that's not a thing on amateur radio. So REH is obviously the first 3 letters in my last name, which made sense to me, but doesn't make any sense to anybody else. And the 3 was just because that was where REH was available, so that's why I picked that. And obviously I have no affiliation with Philadelphia, so the Philadelphia area, so the 3 makes no sense. So my old call sign simply made no sense. This one, hopefully a little more. At least it has a 6 in it. So K3R8 signing off, NR6H signing back on and back to net.
All right, well, I am officially scratching K3REH off the check-in and putting NR6H. Yeah, when you check out the CW, how that plays out with CW, I think you'll be very pleased. It seems pretty nice. Any other comments on the new extra class?
Yeah, the only problem is that if I were to change my call letters, I would have about 250 to 300 QSL cards that would no longer be valid.
I think the club would reimburse you for that, wouldn't it?
I really doubt it. I really doubt it.
Someone double with Neil.
That was James, KN6QNJ. Just interested to know why 6 is important. You can tell I'm still new.
I think 6 just represents the ITU region, the International Telecommunications Union region for amateur radio out this way, which is, I think, California.
Up in the northeast corner. And so there is a correlation between the number and the geographic area, but there is no absolute requirement that you have a number for your area. So it's kind of like cell phones. It used to be that way, that the number was important, but no more. It kind of got diluted with time, just like phone numbers and area codes. I know that you joke around that by looking at somebody's cell phone number, you know where they went to college these days. K3RE, oops, that was wrong. November Romeo, 6 Hotel, back to net.
Thanks for that. I understood 6 and the ITU region. I just wanted to know if there was something else I was missing, but that makes sense, and that's true about area codes.
All right. Again, congratulations in R6H. N6PGQ, are you ready for your photo?
Comment?
Go ahead, Joel.
You know, I didn't believe that was a real call. That's what I meant by I thought I'd been taken. And unfortunately, the FCC's website is down at the moment, so I couldn't go look it up. I did not think there was such a prefix as NR. That's very unusual. So, Andrews, I think you'll be popular with that for those, at least with those people who go prefix chasing. So congratulations both on the license and on the difficult process of getting a 6 vanity call, which my understanding is, well, you explained it yourself, 20 people every time trying to get the same call no matter what it is. So, woohoo! Back to net, AI6TG.
All right, Joel, thank you for that. N6PGQ, are you ready for a photo to transmit?
Okay, we'll give it a try. This should be PD 120.
right, let me run on down the list. I'll start with Anders. Were you able to copy Bob's N6 PGQ photo?
Excellent copy. Almost no pixel pops. Very, very clean image, and a very high-techy picture of I guess it's the two satellites on the left and the right, and then the subwoofer in the middle. These are beautiful pieces of keys. I wish I knew more about this. I will definitely have this on my to-do list to learn CW, but it looks like an awesome setup. I doubt that you use all three at the same time, though. So very cool picture, very nice, very high-quality picture for sure. N6H, back to net.
All right, very good. Yes, I was able to pick up a nice photo as well of that. And going on down the list, AI6DG, how copy?
As said, excellent reception, very few pops. So we've got in the background, a transceiver of some kind in the center. To the left of that is some device. I'm not quite sure what it is because I see a couple of knobs and some buttons. This doesn't give me enough to figure out if it's a power supply or VFO or a antenna tuner. But those are at the very edge at the top of the screen, and front and center, spread across a wood grain, probably wood desk, are three types of CW keys. On the left is a really nice, brightly shined, chromed Vibraplex bug. In the center, we've got an old-style 40s or 50s military straight key with sealed contacts, so there's no contacts visible, and I think that's so that they can be used in environments with flammable gases or liquids, so that they don't catch fire. There's no sparks. And on the right, we have a bencher, iambic two-key keyer, key, not the keyer. Iambic key, two paddle. It might be a chrome, but I don't think so. I think the top chrome, but not the base. And I would actually sometime wouldn't mind picking up an all chrome bencher like that. But it's got a nice plexiglass cover on top of it to keep it nice and shiny and dust free. So quite the collection, and yeah. Now if I only knew CW, it'd mean even more to me. Maybe one of these days. Back to that AI6DG.
Right, very nice work, Joel, for helping to kind of reflect on what we're seeing there. I can see the bug to the left, beautiful pug. I guess that's a Vibraplex racer, like you say. So KP4MD, any comments? What do you think? N6EMF, net control here.
Yeah, hi, N6EMF in the group. This is KP4MD. Very nice picture. Just if maybe half a dozen pixel pops throughout the whole picture, but really nice and clear. Yeah, I do see the Vibraplex Deluxe Original bug on the left. I was an owner of one of those back in the early 1970s when I lived in New York City, but I did sell it before leaving there because it was kind of heavy and I was going away to school and wanted to travel really light. But it was a great bug. And the straight key in the center is what they call a flame-proof key. And just like Joel said, those were used aboard ships to avoid sparks that could ignite explosions. There are no exposed contacts there. And they used to key the cathodes of these vacuum tube transmitters that would carry a significant amount of current. So you would definitely very easily see sparks on a regular key when you're keying one of those transmitters. It's high voltage and a significant amount of current that would cause a spark. The those are military, and those are really nice. I never had a key like that. And yeah, the key on the right side is the bencher. I have one of those iambic bencher paddles, and a nice cover you got for that too. It's a clear see-through cover. Keeps the dust off those things because you just leave it out for a week or so, and then the dust gets on the chrome, and it looks kind of not very nice. So that keeps them nice and shiny. Very good. And there's a radio in the background. I'm not sure what that is. Looks like I don't know if it's a TS2000 or something like that. But I'm not familiar with those radios, those Japanese radios like that. Back to net control. It's KP4MD.
All right, Carol. Thanks for a little bit of background on your history with this type of bug. And KL7HQR. Neil, were you able to copy PGQ's photos?
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to follow all those people with some extremely beautiful descriptions. Very, very good copy. The bug on the left, I have one that has black petals similar to that. I don't know how to use that yet. I cannot even send my call letters on that. It's way too fast for me. The one in the middle, I own one of those. It comes from the U.S. Navy, and mine was supposed to be used on submarines, like everybody else said. There was a very high current, and therefore big sparks, and they have the contacts covered. The one on the right-hand side, I have not practiced yet with, and I can barely make it any bad CW with a straight key right now. So, anyway, good copy, beautiful picture. Back to that.
Very good, Neil. Thank you. James, KN6QNJ.
Very good copy on my end, and I loved hearing the descriptions of each of these keys. Inspires me to learn Morse code again, which I sort of knew as a youngster. KN6QNJ.
Yeah, very good. Yes, once you, and thanks, James. Once you start getting into these things, they can be addictive. You can get one key, and sometimes one is never enough. I'm not even sure how many I have now. I've got 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 now, and you know how that goes. So let's hear from N6PGQ. What do you got, Bob? N6EMF.
Okay, very good. Well, Joel and Carol, hit it out of the park. Last weekend on Saturday was the North American QSO party, the CW part of the contest, and I had these out at my QTH in case any of the people that came over needed to use a key. It proved like something I did not need to do. The operators brought their own bugs with them and just used a couple of alligator clips to hook it to the radio and participated in the contest. The radio in the background is not the radio that I use the keys for. It's a Yaesu FT847, and it's the one I'm talking on right now, N6PGQ.
All right, very fine radio. Nice set of keys there. So thanks for sharing. Any follow-up questions for Bob?
No question, but a comment. But Bob is too humble to mention is that the results were very good. The contest was only 12 hours, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., with 2 operators, which did not include myself. They managed to get 448 contacts on CW in less than 12 hours, taking time for lunch and dinner. So that was quite impressive.
That is quite impressive, Neil, and I want to thank everybody for all the conversation and guidance I was able to glean. I actually did drop by Bob's N6PGQ's house and met there with others, including Neil. And by the time I got there, it must have been around 11 o'clock a.m. They'd been at it for about an hour. I think they had about 70 QSOs already. So yeah, they were, by the time I left, they were averaging about 50 QSOs an hour. So nice work. Congratulations. I didn't get to stay the whole time, but I still had a great time hanging out with you guys. So thank you. Nice work.
N6PGQ. Go ahead. And just a quick comment about the contest. We made contacts on every band that was available except for 160. I don't have a 160 antenna up, or we would have tried. It was interesting. 10 meters was open for an awful long time. Made quite a few contacts on it. N6PGQ.
Very good. Yeah, it would have been, let's see, did anybody have any follow-up comments or additional questions on the contest or what they had on the go? Which key did you, I guess everybody brought their own key. Whoever was at the station plugged in the key of their preference. Was that how that worked that day?
Yeah, they brought their own key with them, and both the guys that operated both brought bugs.
Yes. All right. Any other comments? Thank you for that. Well, all right. Well, congratulations on 448. Hopefully, you get them logged online on time so they can be counted. And happy times. Well, let's see. Thanks for that update and narrative on your photo, Bob. I'm going to jump down to Neil. Let's see. Neil's down there near the bottom. I guess I can jump down to Neil, KL7HQR. You ready?
Roger. PD 120.
Hi, and yes, this is November 6th, Echo Mike Foxtrot Net Control for Slow Scan TV, and seeing a great photo coming in from Neil. That was KL7HQR. I got a pretty good photo, an image of thinking of our friend Mike. God be with him and his family, indeed. Amen. And this is about Mike. He's our friend and president of the Samuel F. Morse Amateur Radio Club. It's a CW club, and he's been, I think I mentioned this last week in Slow Scan TV Net, that he's been hospitalized. And without going into all the details, I'm sure others will have things they would like to share, but he's He's been hospitalized since around Christmas time, I think, and fortunately his wife is maintaining good spirits and has been providing updates almost daily online. So let me turn that up the line to Anders, that's NR6H. Any comments?
I did receive the photo, and while I haven't had the pleasure to meet Mike myself, I hope that that's going to get that opportunity soon when he gets well again. That bug is a nasty bug, and I sure hope everything turns out to the better. NR6H, back to net.
Very good. Yep, he's a good guy. I'm going to miss seeing him. You know, he's probably going to take some time to get back on the mend before he can be everything that he has been for the club. So we have to keep him in our prayers. N6PGQ, Bob?
Yeah, I've been following his progress daily, and it's not looking real good today. But anyway, we are all thinking of Mike, and a lot of us have taken his Morse code class and really appreciated what he did. So, you know, as Neil said, we're thinking about him and keeping him in our prayers. N6PGQ.
All right, very good, Bob. Thank you. Joel, AI6DG, how copy?
It's always, one thing I noticed, maybe I'm the only one, but the sounds of different pictures and different modes is fascinating. And it's trying to correspond what you're hearing with what the images that's coming across is sometimes interesting. One thing that hasn't been mentioned is it's what is there is out, but you mean our, so it's a T instead of an R. And best wishes to Mike and his speedy recovery. Back to net, AI6DG.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Joel. Carol, comments?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. I want to also express it says out, friend. And I guess Mike is out as far as being very outgoing and very expressive of his beliefs. And one thing I have to say is the times I've heard him talking about COVID, he seemed to be very skeptical about the medical profession and the treatments that we were offering and the way we were attacking the COVID pandemic. And I know that he's on a ventilator, and he has to be sedated to be on this ventilator, and that he is probably quite frustrated. At times he's on the verge of waking up because he gets combative. And he's probably, I wonder what kind of anguish, emotional anguish he's going through being in this situation where he perhaps doesn't understand it and is not in agreement with it. So I just pray that he has peace in his soul, and that that God does grant that his body heals from this. That's all I can say. So back to you, Wilson. This is KP for MD.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your personal thoughts on that, Carol. And I couldn't disagree with you, and I couldn't have said it any better or different. So yeah, I got to know Mike somewhat on a personal level, took his class, spent many evenings with him, and visited with him on a one-on-one level, had many conversations with him. So really fun, intense, and passionate about the hobby, and has some very strong opinions about things as well. But he's worth every bit of it. So yeah. Anyway, next up, how about James, KN6QNJ?
The picture came through very well. I don't know Mike, but like all of you have said, I hope he recovers, and I would hope in the near future I could take a course from him. It's something I plan to do eventually as I get into the hobby more. In terms of the picture came through on the black. I have some white pixel pops, but other than that, came through well. KN6QNJ.
All right, thank you for that, James. And yeah, on the quality, mine was similar to yours in 6EMF here. How about Neil, KL7HQR?
Nothing else to add to what has been said. The typo has been corrected, and I hope many people will have a chance to have a class from Mike in the future, because not only he was a tremendous person to know, but he is an incredible teacher of Morse code, and very inspiring. He kind of pushed you to really try to learn quite a few little tricks that he chose in a class, so that the one that I remember to begin with is D is da di di, da di di, D is I did it, and you never forget that again. So looking forward to having back with us as soon as possible. Back to Net.
All right, well, very good. Any other follow-up comments, questions for Neil? Thank you for that, Neil. That was a special time that we had to kind of think and talk, share ideas and experiences with Mike, great fella, N6 MQL. MQL is like Michael, N6 MQL. That's his call sign. All right, so where are we? I'm going to go down to Joel. Joel, if you're ready, would you please transmit a photo?
Was there tone?
No tone.
Quick keyed, I didn't get that. Was there tone?
No tone this time. Try again. No tone.
Let me do someone and then do me after them. I'll work on it between now and then.
All right, thank you, Joel. I'll check in with Carol, KP4MD.
Okay, this is going to be PD120.
was able to copy a photo about halfway through, and then my MMS-TV program sort of crashed on me. But what I thought I saw was lightning stroke in some very dense cloud activity up in the sky, maybe. And that's about all I can report, but it looked like it was going to be a pretty good image. If I have more, I will share it, and I will turn it over to Anders in, say, NR6H.
I did receive the picture. A significantly higher amount of pixel pops on this than any of the previous pictures that we had today, and I also got a burst about 1/6 down the picture, a horizontal burst there. Not sure what that was. The other burst in the picture is obviously the lightning strikes into a very thick and heavy cloud. These are pictures that we've seen from different angles in several versions over the last few days. I have to assume that this has to do with the Honga Tonga volcano eruption and how they are slowly digging out of it. The last I read that there were significant amounts of ash on the ground and a major catastrophe there. So really scary stuff. It's going to be interesting to learn more what's going to happen going forward here. And apparently that thing is still bubbling. So more can happen. So interesting development for sure, and scary for the people that are near it. See, it's going to take time. November Romeo 6 Hotel, back to net.
November Romeo 6 Hotel. I'm getting used to it as well. Thanks for that wonderful, what you saw there, what your perspective was, and a little bit of news update. Okay, well, N6PGQ, how copy?
Well, I don't have much more to add. Originally I thought it was volcanic eruption and then the lightning that's caused by the weather changes and all the dust particles that are moving around. Good picture, a lot of pixel pops, and then the idea about a fifth of the way down the screen. N6PGQ.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Bob. AI6DG. How are you doing out there with your slow scan checks, and were you able to copy?
Excellent copy. It sounded to me like an APRS burst at the top. That's that part at the very top. If this is Tonga, I'm wondering which eruption it was, because this looks like a smaller one, because that big one was just huge. This actually looks quite a bit smaller than what I think the big explosions at Tonga were. But it is pretty neat looking at that lightning bolt. Did you see the pictures of the number of lightning strikes that were happening around that? Wow, that's an incredible amount of static electricity energy being generated just from the movement of all that dust around that. The whole incident is amazing. I mean, can you imagine something 5,000 miles away that's a strong enough explosion that barometric pressure sensors across the U.S. could pick it up, and such that you could map a wave of pressure differential as it went across the U.S. There's videos of that. Anyway, it's quite amazing. And it's not even, despite being the biggest in 30 years, it's not even that big in geological terms. Back to net, AI6DG.
All right, Joel. Incredible stuff. I'm going to sweep through the list here and check with Neil, KL7HQR. Were you able to copy?
Roger, good copy. Looking at the YouTube picture, I can see the original picture with no pixels and quite a few pixels in here. Very good copy, interesting, and looks like if you pay attention, and I don't know if it's my imagination, the shape of the clouds on the right-hand side look like two, what would you call it, trolls, two faces with a hat and etc., nose and a couple eyes. So I'm seeing faces in the clouds or in the dust there. Anyway, beautiful picture. As far as the transmission, horrible picture as compared to as far as the consequences. Back to Nat.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. We probably won't know the effects until later, right? Okay, Neil. Thank you for that. James, KN6QNJ.
I don't have too much more to add. A lot of pixel pops. I also had about 1/6 down the same that I think it was Anders NR6H mentioned about the line going through the top, and then I also have some interference on the left side. Looks like a triangle with the point at the top and then going down, but it's a powerful picture. N6 EMF, KN6QNJ.
Very good. Well, for the last, thank you, James. For the last couple of weeks, looks like I missed sending a photo. I'm going to make sure Net Control gets to deliver one tonight. How's that? So I'll be sending one now, PD20, and before I send, I'd like to do a check-in with Joel to see if he wants to run a tone check yet.
Can I make a comment?
What happened is they added a new microphone device last night for the, and I think it caused the Windows setup to get messed up. So let's try tone.
It's KP4MD with a comment.
All right, I got some things out of order, and Net Control is apologetic because you got tone, Joel, but my apologies because I skipped over requesting Carol, KP4MD, to provide an update on her photo. So my apologies, Carol. Could you please go ahead and tell us about your lightning strike photo? Thank you.
Yeah, okay, this is KP4MD. Yeah, it does sound like somebody's got the APRS turned on their radio, and it's sending out packets of APRS data. This photo, this is actually a photo I caught off the internet, and yes, it's one of the photos of Hungatonga volcano explosion. And specifically the one with the lightning. That's the reason why I included this. Actually, I included this in a YouTube video that I uploaded, I believe, yesterday. I put together a video that it illustrates the how you can look at the record of lightning strikes. They believe there's absolutely a new record for the number of lightning strikes during a volcano eruption. There's a worldwide network of radio receivers that are listening for the RF static that's generated by lightning strikes, and by triangulating these bursts of RF static that they get, they can actually plot where lightning strikes are occurring around the world, and it's constant. It's going on in real time. The website for that is called blitzortung.org. That's BLITZORTUNG.org, and you can see lightning as it's happening in real time, and also it keeps a record for several days of lightning strikes. And what I did was I went to that site, and I went to this precise time of that eruption, which was the 15th of January between 0500 and 0600 UTC, where they recorded 200,000 lightning strikes in that area within that 1 hour, and it's apparently a record that that number of lightning strikes associated with a volcano have never been recorded. And the YouTube video shows how you can go back into the record and zero in exactly on that time and see on the map where those lightning strikes are recorded over the island of Tonga. So it was quite impressive. And this is not, of course, the major explosion. The major explosion shot ash up to 30 kilometers up into the stratosphere and had more power than the largest nuclear weapon that ever has been exploded. So it's quite impressive. The shock wave, not only was it heard in the United States, but it was detected over in Europe. And it was detected on this second trip around the world by an acquaintance of ours that's a professor over in Southampton, England, that has a barograph. He shared that with us. It was quite impressive. So back to net control. This is Kilo Papa 4 Mike Delta.
Honestly, Carol, I don't know what the evening would have been if we would have allowed net control to skip over your explanation of this photo. So thank you for doing that. And I think I have to go look on Discord, our Discord app, to find that video that I think you posted yesterday. So yeah, thanks for sharing. And if that was more powerful than the most powerful nuclear bomb that's ever been set off, wow. I mean, that is just unbelievable. Who knows what kinds of substances would have been created from that explosion or from those lightning strikes and everything else. It's just amazing. Any other comments or questions? 200,000 lightning strikes. I think you would need special instruments. It might not be. It may have occurred in nature before, right? But we never recorded anything like that before, probably because we didn't have the instruments in the right place, or this is the first time since there were any instruments, right? Pretty cool stuff. Well, let's see. Joel, if you're ready to transmit, I'll put mine after yours.
Nope. If you missed last week, you can go ahead before me. Do me after you.
All right, well, I won't waste any time. Here we go. N6 EMF PD 120. November Romeo 6 Hotel. How copy?
excellent copy here. The picture is split in 4 pieces. The top left shows a car from the passenger seat side. You can see the steering wheel in the background there. Looks like the driver's door is open. And up on the windshield, it looks like a little antenna sitting right there. To the next picture over to the top right is a rig expert, and I guess we're looking at the top right part of the windshield with the inside part of that antenna. The picture is not sharp enough for me to read what the rig expert says on the display there. And then everything is given away by the bottom left, where it says glass mount antenna MFJ 1734 dual band 2 meter 440, and so on. Even the price is right there, so we know where to get it and for how much. So that's great. And then we have the rig expert again on the bottom right. Again, it's not quite clear enough to see what it says in the display there. I think it says SWR 2.1, maybe, but a little blurry. So, yeah, that's what it is. I wonder, is this maybe N6 EMF setup, or is it something else? Maybe it's something on the shopping list. This is NR6H, back to nets.
All right, thank you for that. N6PGQ.
Well, I know the story about this, and so I will pass. I'm just going to mention that the quality was really good. Not very many pixel pops. You can read, of course, the writing in the left bottom quadrant, and can't quite read the SWR in the rig experts. So I'll pass to the next person, N6PGQ.
All right, well, thanks, Bob. How about Joel, AI6DG?
Well, it's been mostly said already, so there's not much for me to add, although the only thing I will add is that you got to be careful on these through glass antennas, because you got to look at what kind of glass your car has and what kind of coatings it has, because I've heard stories that indicate that some cars, the glass has a coating that prevents the RF from getting through, or at least attenuates it. Back to net AS6DG.
Oh, very good. I'll comment on that. Thank you, Joel. KP4MD, how copy? Carol?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. Thank you. Same picture. It's pretty clear. You can probably see what I copied on up on the YouTube. And hard to read. I'm looking at the lower right hand. I think it says SWR. Is it 2 point something? And I'm not sure if that's the lowest SWR you were able to get on that antenna. Yeah, it's working against a 6-inch counterpoise. So that's kind of interesting. I'm wondering if that's a quarter wave antenna. How does it, or is it a little longer than quarter wave? Because a 6-inch counterpoise is not really a full quarter wave counterpoise. Anyhow, that's I've been curious about those antennas. I know there's some sometimes the capacitive coupling is not too efficient through the glass, especially like was said, if there is sometimes a metallic film over the glass, that can certainly cause some problems. So back to net. This is KP4MT.
All right, thanks for the comments. All right, Neil, KL7HQR. Thank you, Carol. How about Neil?
Good copy here, no problem at all. Not much to add to what's been said, except that I would, if this is something that it was done on your automobile, would like to know the end results, since we cannot read the results on the pictures. And the only other things to mention is that a shout out to N6BRD, who is on YouTube. Back tonight.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Neil, and good evening, Alf. That's KN6PRD, N6EMF. Welcome, and thanks for watching the show. We have a full cast tonight. So, yeah, thanks for that, Neil. KN6QNJ. James, how copy?
A good copy. Just have the one horizontal band about 2/3 down. Again, I don't know if that's maybe what Carol said, APRS signals, or just the nature of SSTV. I'm interested to hear about the experience with the antenna, and otherwise all my comments are similar to what everybody else raised. KN6QNJ.
All right, well, let me give it a whirl. Thank you, James. N6EMF Net Control here. Basically, this afternoon I installed a glass mount antenna on my little black coupe here, and I didn't want to drill into the body work for an external antenna, and I wanted to have something to be able to communicate. So I installed this antenna today, and the upper right-hand corner is inside the passenger seat, looking up out the window on the back side of the antenna. These antenna is affixed to the window with some high-strength 3M tape, both inside and outside. That little 6-inch counterpoise there is a piece of stainless steel wire that was painted at MFJ, and I had to scrape or sand the paint off to make it conduct. But anyway, that 6-inch counterpoise out of the box, the antenna tunes up on 2 meters on one of my favorite channels with a 2.0 SWR with an impedance of 37 ohms. And after I adjusted, that was a drop. After I adjusted the adjustable capacitor on the back side of that box where the coax is attached, you'll see a little divot right in the middle. Well, that's an adjustment point for a capacitance. And after reading the manual, I realized that you can adjust the capacitance to achieve the minimum SWR, which ended up being like 2.0 anyway. But out of the box, it was 2.0 SWR and 37 ohms of impedance. And I adjusted that point until it reached 50 ohms, and unfortunately, the SWR increased along with the impedance from 36 ohms to 50 ohms. The SWR went from 2.0 to 2.8. I just left it there, and then I called for a radio check, and it was N6PGQ that answered my call this afternoon, and he reported back to me that the antenna that I was making full quieting, and my voice sounded great. So thank you for that, Bob. And long story short, I plugged in this Riggs Expert antenna analyzer into a mag mount antenna that I have on another car, which you can see in the reflection of the passenger side window of this coupe. So for comparison purposes, this glass mount antenna performs approximately the same as a mag mount on the back of the Corolla. So there you go. The SWR is very similar, and the impedance values are very similar. Return loss is very similar, so almost indiscernible. Well, let's see. There's my report on the glass mount. One last thing on Carol's comment. I did take a piece of copper wire to extend the length of the counterpoise, and it did, in fact, improve the SWR and the so hope that helps. So I don't think the counterpoise is adequate, but at least it's minimal, and it works. N6EMF. Any comments or questions?
Comment.
Go ahead, Joel.
Maybe obvious, but yeah, the Rig Expert's at AA 200 zoom, so it's good up to, what is it, 200 megahertz, 220. Nice meter. And the impedance, okay, the SWR it's not always going to be best when the impedance is up to 50 because the SWR is affected by both the impedance and the reactance, the conductive and or capacitive reactance in the system. So you gave just the impedance. What would have been interesting would have been the impedance and the reactance. Actually, a Smith chart. I think that model does a Smith chart. That would be give a lot of info also, because that's a Smith chart's a chart of the let's see here. It's the impedance and reactance across a range of frequencies.
You're absolutely right. It can do Smith charts, but what I observed is as I adjusted the capacitance, the impedance went from 37 ohms towards 50. So impedance increased while the SWR increased. And so what I probably should have done, according to the MFJ manual, is I should have adjusted it for a minimum SWR. But anyway, it works, so I'll probably just leave it alone as opposed to trying to adjust it again.
Some fun for another day, or just leave it as is. As long as it works, back to net AI6DG.
Yeah, or I could play around with the counterpoise as well. Well, thank you for the question, Joel, and I apologize for the quality of the photograph. I just have really struggled with arranging photos. So if there's no other comments, I will turn it over to you, Joel, for transmission. Let's take a pause and see if there's any additional comments or questions.
Yeah, KP from MD with comment.
Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, okay, I'm looking at the top left picture, and it looks like the whip is bent at practically a 45-degree angle towards the roof of the car, and that is going to certainly decrease your signal a few dB because you're not 100% vertically polarized, kind of half horizontal and half vertical. And I don't know if the roof of your car is metallic, but if it is, that also is going to have an effect on the tuning of that antenna, since it looks like the top of that whip is quite close to that roof. Over.
Yeah, I appreciate the comment, and it is kind of a hobby car, and there are some aesthetic considerations. So I did align the antenna to help to kind of align with the curves of the body for aesthetic reasons. And the whip is adjustable. I can adjust the whip. It's kind of a ratcheting adjustment, and I can set it at different angles. So I will take your suggestion and get it vertical and take another measurement, see what happens, and just see how it looks as well. Thank you for the question or the comment, Carol. Well, all right, Joel, go right ahead. It's Joel's up, AI6DG.
PD120.
Go ahead, Neil.
I'm sorry, I have to apologize. I have to drop off the net right now. So don't worry about calling me. Thank you, guys. I apologize. I have to get nothing serious, but I have to get off the air. KL7H2.
Very good, Neil. Thank you for checking in. Have a good evening, and 7-3 N6EMF. Have a good evening, Neil. So yeah, Net Control here in N6EMF was able to copy quite a few pixel pops. The clarity or resolution isn't great, but I could tell you that I do recognize almost everything in the photo. I see a KX3 tuned to 28.42. That's our N6NA frequency for HF nets. That sounds like fun. And above that, you've got a manual MFJ tuner with a power meter off to the left. Oh, maybe it has a dummy load. I saw one of those over at Bob's this weekend. Nice tuner. I love them. On top must be a power supply. I can't think of what else it might be. And I'll turn it over to Anders, K3. That was K3REH. How about NR6H? Go ahead, Anders.
Yeah, I got the picture. It's split in 2 or 3, I guess. There is a tiny version of it up in the top right corner that looks like a mirror image of what the left half of the picture. And then down on the lower right is a clock that shows about 8:45. The funky thing is that the picture looks like it's taken through a fisheye lens. Kind of funky. It looks a little weird. Things are bent in a strange way in the big picture. I happen to know where it comes from because I saw this when it happened in real time last night. So I am going to defer my comments to the next person. This is NR6H, back to net.
Awesome. How about Bob, N6PGQ? Thank you, Anders.
Well, picture came out real well. There's a line about 1/5 of the way down. It's probably the ID for the repeater. I would guess with the fins on the top of the unit on the top of the analyzer that may be an amplifier for the Elecraft radio. Usually you don't need a antenna tuner if the Elecraft's got a built-in tuner. They'll, like they say, proverbial wet noodle that they can tune. So I think it's an amp on the top, and the quality's good. Few pixel pops in the black, and back to net, N6PGQ.
A good point there, Bob, and thank you for pointing out what might be an amp on top. I thought it was a power supply, but none of this stuff really needs a power supply except for the amp itself. The Elecraft probably has a battery. Okay, nice stuff. Skip over Joel, KP4MD. Any comments, questions?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. I recognize the amplifier on top is the Hard Rock 50 that Joel built, and I'm not sure if Joel put the internal tuner in that because there is an option to put an internal tuner in that amplifier, 50-watt amplifier. The Versatuner also on top. It's on top of, and that's the Elecraft KX2. Definitely, it's not the KX3. This one is a little smaller than a KX3. And it is tuned to our net frequency. And I do notice, I think that Joel has been doing some relativity experiments, and he's been bending space-time. I think that's what's happening above the KX2. There's a little bit of warping of photons there. So back to net control. This is KP4MD.
He got exposed to some of that honga tonga. All right, thank you, Carol. Maybe that wasn't funny. My apologies. KN6QNJ. How about James?
Came through well. Pixel pops in the black. It does look like the picture's a little bit rounded out, so the lens on the camera that took this picture gives that fisheye effect, maybe trying to get a close-up shot I don't have much more to add. KN6QNJ.
All right, James, thank you. Well, on that KX2, thanks for the correction. Carol, I've had mine out the last few days, and I've been working mine. I can't believe I mistakenly thought that was a KX3. So yes, very familiar. Let's take it back up to Joel, AI6DG. What would you say?
Yeah, this is from last night. I did record the North Hills Radio Club meeting last night. I did a presentation on antenna tuners, and this was the setup when I was trying to do a live demo of the VersaTuner in the middle. And to do this, the reason it's distorted is because this is a really wide-angle lens webcam, and it's actually pointed sideways. It's in normally you'd see it in landscape mode, so that 90 degrees off from this. But to get this, rather than pointing it straight down to look at the desktop, I pointed it about 45 degrees to one side to look at this stuff. And in OBS, set up a camera source and a transformation to rotate it 90 degrees so that I could present this to the Zoom and to record it this way. And because it's such a wide angle, it distorted some of the lines. But there's actually 3 antenna tuners in this picture, because the KX2 has an internal antenna tuner, the VersaTuner is a tuner, and then the Hard Rock 50 amplifier up on top has an antenna tuner in it. So to do the demo, I had to bypass or put the antenna tuners in the KX2 and in the Hard Rock 500 in bypass. And the Hard Rock amplifier, you'll notice that on the display, it's getting 13.6 volts. The temperature of the heat sink is 75 degrees Fahrenheit. It's set to band 10 meters. And the key is set to COR, which is carrier, COR, carrier on receive. So basically, whenever it senses that there's RF coming into it, it turns the amplifier on, which is really cool and convenient. I don't have to worry about extra cables, push-to-talk connections or cables or commands or anything. A lot of, in Sacramento at least, I know there's multiple clubs and nets that use 28.420. So that's the first frequency that popped into my mind. And unfortunately, I didn't have a particularly successful demo of doing the VersaTuner, and I'm not sure what I was doing wrong. I just tried doing this on the air, and I've never actually tried tuning it up before. It could be this what I was attached to or not. I'm not sure, but I thought of this and saw this as a nice little picture of demoing or picturing equipment, and had a fun time. Back to net, AI6DG.
That's great. I guess I missed out. I'd love to see that. So, nice discussion on antenna tuners, and I'll bet that was great. Thanks for sharing. Let me check up and down the list to ask if we have any comments or questions on this one.
Yeah, KP4MD with comment.
Go ahead, Carol.
Okay, thank you very much for the description, Joel. Very good description. COR stands for Carrier Operated Relay, and that's amplifiers could operate either one of two ways. Either it has an RF sensing circuit in there that triggers the amplifier, puts it in line, or you can use a separate push-to-talk line from the transmitter that keys the relay apart from the RF sensing circuit. So that's what that is, and that's really nifty. And I'm glad that you were able to give that demonstration. It's more and more people they're getting these automatic tuners, and when they're confronted with a manual tuner, it's a different skill, and it's good to learn that. That's for sure. And of course, there's several different ways you can get these a low SWR, and you want to do it in a certain way that gets you the highest efficiency, which generally is with the highest capacitance setting. That otherwise you can lose a lot of your power heating up the coil uh, with a T network type tuner with one of the other settings that you can set get a low SWR. So back to net. This is KP4MT.
Quite a few insights you provided there, Carol. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. A lot of confusion about impedance and SWR and capacitance, but you said a lot just in a couple of sentences about capacitance. So thank you very much. Any other comments? Oh, I do have a question for Joel on the power supply voltage. You have it set to 13 something. That seems to be quite a bit. Is that how you operate your KX2? You like that voltage level?
Hang on. Anyone there?
I can hear you, but you're dropping off after about a half second.
Okay, no, I had I wasn't sure. I thought my headset that I'm talking on and listening on had turned off with low battery because I got the low battery sign. So I'm running out of battery, but I'm not out of battery yet. What was the question? Oh, voltage. This is both the KX2 and the Hard Rock 50 were hooked up to a battery supply I have. Cam gear is generally designed for 13.8, so it's kind of designed around car lead acid batteries. So 13.6 is right in line of what it should be, and typically you can run, plus minus 10%, so I actually run my flex up around 14. And actually that's what this should be. The same supply is used on my the radio I'm talking on right now, which it's displaying 13.7, but there must be some voltage loss in that because when I'm receiving it says 14.1. So if you're thinking it's supposed to be 12 volts, I wouldn't say that that's correct.
I guess you're right. I guess the reason why it caught my attention is because the minimum supply voltage is 8 volts on the KX2 according to the manual, and then it says 15 volts max. And I never really thought about it because I bought the accessory internal battery pack, and it's 11.1 volts nominal, so I guess it is 13.8. It just caught my attention, and thanks for the explanation. And now I know. But it'll run as low as 8 volts and up to 15.
Well, but also when you get that low, most rigs will turn down the power, the maximum power that you can transmit. So at that 8 volts, you're not going to be able to put out the 10 or 12 watts, probably. It's probably going to kick down to 5.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess it just kind of reinforces in my mind I could very well hook this right up to my car battery if I wanted to, or plug it into the cigarette lighter. Thank you for that, Joel. Appreciate the discussion. Any other comments or questions? If not, I'll check in with James and ask KN6QNJ if you want to transmit a photo.
Sure, this is James, KN6QNJ. I know it's late. I could wait until next week. Wilson, I don't know what you want to do.
You can, if we have at least a quorum, I would say go ahead with your photo. Did anybody have any objections? Hearing none, go ahead, James. N6EMF.
KN6QNJ. Okay, I'm trying PD 120.
Wow. Nice photo. I was able to copy a nice photo. Looks like it was taken from the window of an aircraft in flight over one of the wings, looking down on the horizon, or rather out at the horizon and the landscape. So pretty interesting. Color scheme doesn't look like commercial. It looks like possibly a small aircraft, maybe a fighter of some kind, maybe. I'm just guessing. So I'm gonna see if Bob N6PGQ would have any insight. Thank you, James.
No, it's obviously not a large jet because they usually have a different shaped wing. We're looking over, the land and then the horizon and the sky off to the top. And I'm going to be absolutely wrong, but it almost looks like you're going out of Sacramento because there's some rice fields and ponds and things to that effect that surround the airport there. So that's my guess, N6PGQ.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. If I look down at those smokestacks, I wouldn't recognize those types of industrial type of smoke emitters. But anyway, maybe that was from a long time ago or something else. But it'll be interesting. Thank you, Bob. How about AI6DG, Neil? I'm going to come back up to Anders in a moment.
Yeah, I think it's a medium-sized plane. It's not a big one because the wing doesn't seem to go a heck of a long ways out. And come to think of it, most of the new airliners have that little swirl thing, the anti vortex thing at the end. And if that's an engine cowling in the foreground on the lower right, there's probably a 2-engine. But I wonder if, looking at just above that cowling, I wonder if that's water. So maybe I can't quite tell if that line above that is road or levee. But I would think we're flying up above a river. And yeah, there are ponds around, both in the foreground and in the background to the left and right, with green in the back to the left. What is this? Maybe in the Delta or down in the Bay Area. So maybe that's part of San Francisco Bay, Austin. But the most confusing thing to me is, what is this industrial complex with the smokestacks in the center of the photo? Can't really. The resolution's just not there, so I can't really completely tell what's there. I mean, is it a refinery? Is it some sort of manufacturing? I look forward to hearing more. Back to Net AI6DG.
Very good, Joel. Thank you. How about Carol, KP4MD?
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. Good picture, very few pixel pops. Overcast sky, definitely in an aircraft, looking at a good view to the horizon. And looks like smokestacks among a number of, there's levees, a number of areas that are flooded. I don't know if that's maybe down somewhere in the Delta. A lot of water, a lot of bodies of water around there. So that's about all I can say. Back to Net KP4MD.
All right, thank you, Carol. We're getting down the list. We're going to skip over Neil. He's out. Anders, NR6H. How copy?
Good copy. First quarter of the image, I was thinking another Tonga image, same gray sky, but no, this is a much nicer area than Tonga is right now, I think. So I agree, small plane, the wing looks kind of cut off up there, so it doesn't look like a very long wing going out. Smokestacks, big roads, it looks like almost like an airport in the distance there. How about Martinez area? That got a lot of these components, I think. There are some water basins there. There's some, there's water all over the place and an airport. Yeah, that's my wild guess. Martinez. NR6H back to net.
Yeah, that's great. I was thinking oil refineries, power plants, not sure. Contra Costa, Pittsburgh power plants, that area several years ago, they're probably closed now. All right. Well, thanks, Anders. Getting back up to James, KN6QNJ. James, what would you say?
Well, this is, I was on a trip near Fort McMurray in Alberta, Canada. This is the Suncor / Shell oil sands or tar sands excavation and initial refining facility break. What you're seeing basically is strip mining of the land, and all the bodies of water are waste ponds because it takes a lot of water to crack the bitumen into eventually fuel for trucks, trains, and airplanes. So it's quite a destructive process, which eventually, theoretically, would be remediated. The plane is a small plane. I think there are probably 10 seats on the plane. And let me know if you have any other questions.
Yeah, well, I heard from somewhere that oil is approaching $100 a barrel right now, so these oil sands might become active again, would you say?
Yeah, no, they are the major financial engine, economic engine in Alberta and other parts of Canada. The product from here, at least some of the product, if not most of the product, was supposed to go through the Keystone pipeline. So it's very active, but they have put out an announcement. Suncor has that they're eventually going to phase out production, and they are also doing a lot of research to keep the production going, but minimize the environmental impact.
Interesting. I have a friend from Calgary, Alberta, and he talks to me a lot about these oil sands, and he says when the price of oil drops below a certain dollar amount, and I think it was $80, that they're just not economically viable to run these sands projects. But I don't know if that's still true today. But it's interesting. Very cool. Thank you. So these are prop 10-seater aircraft that you were in.
Yeah, it was a prop plane. I don't remember the details. It was a while ago, but it was not a very large plane.
All right, very good. Any other comments or questions for James? How about the ticker symbol for Suncor? Just kidding. Go ahead.
Probably turboprop.
Well, all right, it's a wonderful photo, nice landscape photo of something industrial. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, James. And I want to thank everybody for a great discussion and some time together looking at just a bunch of awesome photos, nice work. It's work, and we're doing it, so nice work. Thanks, Carol, going out to Carol for running the streaming, and I want to say goodnight to Al, KN6PRD, if he's still there. Anyway, so let me see if I can find my script and shut it down. Well, thanks to all who participated in tonight's SSTV Net. We hope to see you again next Wednesday, 9 o'clock p.m. The net is officially closed at 10:39 p.m. Pacific Time. This is Wilson, November 6, Echo Mike Foxtrot, wishing all of you a good evening. 7-3.